Welcome to the Editor's Note Comics Podcast.
I think that this world, it needs men that are willing to make the hard call.
Central Maine's best comics podcast, by default.
Ain't no thing like me except me.
Here are your hosts, Zach and Jared.
Matt's coming. No. When do we start?
Spring has sprung.
What are you cracking? Was that your jaw?
Yeah.
That was weird. Weird and unsettling. No one's going to know that, but you're just sitting here cracking away.
Yeah, well, you do that with your neck. And it sounds like every time you crack your... I feel like your head's going to either like detach itself from your body or you're going to fall over dead. Oh my God.
That's old school scoliosis, baby.
Ooh, that's a good one. That made my back feel poppy.
I used to have 2 S's, then I got tall.
Oh, wow.
And I said, hell with you, scoliosis.
And you're still crooked.
I'm a big boy now.
Wow. Spring is here.
No, it's not.
It is. It's officially spring.
Bunch of snow on the ground.
I know, a little smattering, a little pasting, perhaps. Just a little
We got
dabbling.
like 12 inches a week ago.
We got more than 12 inches a week ago.
Yeah, right? There's been a bit of melting. It's going to get a little bit worse. And then, boy, howdy, I'm kind of done with this. Why do I live in this state?
I love Maine, dude.
I started questioning it this week. I'm like, why did I buy a house here?
I'm thinking of getting a tattoo this summer, and it's going to be an outline of Maine on my shoulder.
Speaking as a man with many tattoos, don't?
Really?
Oh, yeah. If I could go back, I would just skip it.
Why?
I have 9 tattoos. I'm going to get, eventually, in the future, at least 3 of them removed.
Why?
Because I don't want them.
Are there any tattoos that you still are endeared to that you'll keep?
I will keep 6 of them because they don't annoy me. But if I had it my way, I would have none.
Really?
Yeah. 100%.
Why? What has changed your mind about this? Is it because of what they're tied to, or?
No, I don't really care anymore. Or it's not that whatever. It's just, I would rather not have the burden of tattoos. And my least favorite question in the world is like, oh, what does that mean? And my response is usually like, it means don't get a tattoo when you're 18.
That's why I've waited till I was in my 30s to do it.
Okay. Because I got most of mine when I was 18. I just don't want to talk about it. So
full rebel mode.
Bye, dog. Hi, dog.
Hi, dog.
What are you doing?
Bye, dog.
Good to see you. Yeah, no, if I had my choice for tattoos, and my mother will love this, I would not have any.
Wow.
And ultimately, I will, when the store is more financially profitable, I will remove 3 of them.
I hear that's painful.
It'll be worth it.
Really?
Yeah, don't get a tattoo.
Are you worried that you're going to have some sort of like echo of the tattoo or like some sort of faded?
That'll be fine. I would be fine with that. I just want 3 of them gone. 3 out of 9.
Oh, so 33%.
Yeah. That was whatever, I'll tell that story now.
Oh, yeah.
So, my 18th birthday, I got my first tattoo. Like, literally, like, day 1, 18. I got one, and before I got it, I, told my parents, I was like, hey, this is a thing I'm going to do. And my mom was like, you know what? Thank you so much for telling us. Like, you're going to be an adult. This is entirely your decision, but I greatly appreciate that you are sharing this information with us. So I get 1.
Yes.
A couple months later, I get 2 more, and I didn't tell them I was doing it, and I, came downstairs, I got them
naked.
Yes, I got them naked. They were in a...
No, I was saying you were naked.
My second round, it was a little bit ticklish, but I...
oh, wow.
Anyway, so it's I'm 18 years old, and I go see my parents. I was like, hey, do you want to see my new tattoos that I got yesterday? And my mom freaked the hell out. She went to bed for 24 hours on, a Friday.
Maybe she was tired. Long week.
No, she was pissed. And I was like, what happened to... you're an adult. Thank you so much for telling us. She's like, to hell with you and getting your tattoos.
Wow.
She was so angry.
To hell with you.
And that was actually prom weekend.
Oh, wow.
And I ended up getting dressed in the middle of the Sam's Lot parking lot because my mom was so mad at me.
Bet she kicked you out of the house to go get dressed.
No, she was just really pissed at me. I was like, I don't need to be here.
Oh, wow.
Also, me as a teenager is the worst.
You were kind of a dick.
I wouldn't wish me as a teenager on anyone.
You did it to your parents.
Yeah, and I feel bad for them, but also it's the same, oh, thank you, you're going to be an adult. Thank you so much for telling us. It doesn't really matter. I was like, check out my new tattoos, and she's like, you're dead to me.
That's a real mixed messaging. I can see why you may have had a problem.
Yeah, a little bit.
Still Team Karen, though.
3 out of 9 can go in my book.
Okay.
Uno, dos, tres.
Okay.
No one could see the motions that I was making about you.
I know the ones. I remember them.
You've seen my tattoos. You've seen all 9 of them.
I've seen all 9 of your tattoos.
Plus
even the special
secret one.
Yes, I was going to say the special hidden one.
The sphincter one.
Ugh, not that one. That makes 11.
But yeah, I guess, let's move on from that weird thing from 12 years ago into the news. Because there's some news, baby!
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
It's time for the news.
Things that you wouldn't hear on any other show in America, by the way. Sphincter tattoo. That's what you get when you tune into this show.
But anyway, Danny Boyle is directing Bond 25.
All right.
Danny Boyle is amazing.
Do we have a title for Bond 25?
No.
I still haven't seen Spectre, and you keep saying don't bother.
I deeply disliked the last movie, but I like Daniel Craig. It's a real 50-50 so far. Like Casino Royale, amazing. Quantum of Solace, bad. Name of the next one, amazing. Skyfall, amazing. Spectre, truly brutal.
Has it fallen into the Star Trek every other movie sucks?
It kinda has.
So we're due for a good one.
Danny Boyle's a great director. Did you ever see Sunshine?
No.
That was a 2007 movie, and honestly, like, for as much as you want to say, like, the Marvel movies were kind of the things that, like, made Chris Evans, if you go watch Sunshine, like, that's kind of the movie that makes Chris Evans as an actor.
Sunshine.
It's a great... No, the score is brilliant. The movie is amazing. It's wonderfully suspenseful. It's great. Danny Boyle is an amazing director, so I am very happy to see him on Bond. Black Panther is going to potentially cross a milestone next week because it is still going strong.
It's still number one. It's tied to Avatar.
Yeah. For the 5th week in a row, Black Panther is number one. The last movie to do this in history was Avatar in 2009. I don't think it's going to win the weekend because Pacific Rim 2 is coming out.
Yeah.
And it's because it's literally going to its 6th weekend. I think Pacific Rim will win. But one way or the other, like Black Panther being number one for 5 weeks in a row,
It's a good movie.
That is a testament to, like...
how good that movie is.
And just serving an audience that's underserved. Like, and we proved this last year with Wonder Woman. Like, you give people who haven't seen, like, a certain thing before, people are going to go out.
Show me what I haven't seen before. Show me something new, as you like to say.
And we've talked about Creed before. Like, we both love Creed. Like, Ryan Coogler deserves to be someone getting, like, big budget work. He's younger than you.
Thank you.
No, bad. That means that you have performed poorly in life.
I don't.
I have 2 years to make up for it.
You were at a comic book store in Halloween.
Wait till I make another $100 million. I have 2 years to do it, and then I'm Coogler status, baby.
Doubtful. Speaking of things that I haven't seen before, like show me something new, you sent me down a rabbit hole last week.
Did I?
Yes, you did. I'm about halfway through watching Superman Lives, the documentary about Superman.
Yeah, that's great. Isn't that a good documentary?
I didn't realize that Kevin Smith wrote the first real good script for it.
Yeah, he was... boy, if memory serves, yeah. I think the documentary is called, like, The Death of Superman Lives. It was by a guy named John Schnepp, I think.
He's talking to the producer guy, John, whatever his name is.
Yeah, the guy who used to be, like, Streisand's hairdresser.
Yeah, that dude is weird.
And he's like, I've been in, like, 200 fistfights and won them all.
Yeah, I'm from the streets.
Yeah.
But I came across a good Kevin Smith anecdote from one of his evening with Kevin Smith where he talks about writing the script for Superman Lives. And the guy's like, there's 3 rules. I don't want to see Superman in his suit. He can't fly. And I want him to fight a giant spider in the 3rd act.
All weird things. And then that giant spider ended up happening in
Wild West.
The amazing 1998 spectacular Wild Wild West, starring Will Smith. And who was the other star of that? Was it Owen Wilson?
No, it was
other blonde
Kevin Kline.
guy. Okay, cool.
And then I want to say Kenneth Branagh played the spider dude.
And for a movie that we've watched in the past, I think that guy is working on a Fantastic Four documentary now.
Really?
For that unreleased Fantastic Four movie we watched, which also equally deserves its own documentary of how did this happen. Because, A, it's the best Fantastic Four movie, and B, it's terrible.
So, like, I haven't got to the part. Do they explain why the movie gets canned? Because they spent a ton of money on it.
I imagine. I haven't watched it in a couple of years. Like, I've only seen it once. I rented it a few years ago. Don't remember the specifics, but damn it, I remember just enjoying it. It's good. Speaking of things that won't be good...
Krypton?
Yeah, that show's good. Second, no one cares. Indiana Jones 5.
Starts filming this summer.
No.
Next summer.
Next summer. How old is Harrison Ford going to be?
74.
April 2019 is when Indiana Jones 5 starts filming.
I believe he'll be 74. There was a great Twitter trend the other day after the announcement. It was like Indiana Jones in like the afternoon yelling at kids on his lawn. Indiana Jones in the 5 o'clock nap.
What is this? Like,
are we going to have any LaBeouf in it?
No, he is definitely not in it. Indiana Jones, but that's the thing, like, Indiana Jones 4 was 2008, and half of that movie is making old man jokes, and that's going to be 11 years prior.
You mean, oh, yes, I see what you're saying.
Like, that's all that movie was just old man jokes. Like, he's so old, this is 11 years later. Wow, boy, I don't have a lot of faith in this. I would like it to be a good movie. Like, I was going to say, clearly I'm a fan, but I don't know if people know that. Like, we're both fans of that series.
I love Indiana Jones.
And we're both relative apologists of Indiana Jones 4. Probably me especially. Weird, I know.
It's better than Temple of Doom.
Yes. That's a weird thing. Yeah, we also don't really like Temple of Doom. It's also nice that I can just say a blanket statement that it counts for both of us.
Yes.
Makes things a lot easier. We don't really like Temple of Doom. We're apologists for the fourth movie. Last Crusade is the best one.
Ooh.
Do you disagree with me?
That's tough, because I really love Raiders.
I love Raiders,
awesome.
too.
Raiders was so revolutionary, though. It was like...
Look, I love the monkey. I love the shooting the sword guy. I love
Bad dates.
Yes, I love bad dates. I mean, compared to, like, Wrong Ticket?
No Ticket.
No Ticket.
That was good, too.
You get even the silliness of the scene of, like, the umbrella, like, flapping at sea.
I remember my Charlemagne.
And the two of them, like, sleeping with the same chick and all of this.
Oh, ships passing in the night.
I love the leap of faith. I love the end of just, like...
He chose poorly.
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking... I wasn't going that far yet. I was going, like, the knight just, like, throwing down the sword. He's like, I am out of shape. It is just on the ground, and I'm not very good at this anymore.
For 300 years? A long time to wait. It was like 1,300 years.
Yes, and also, like, he chose poorly. Yeah, it's all that. Yeah, if I had to pick, I think Last Crusade is the best one.
Oh, man, I don't know. There's something about...
I also love Raiders. So if you're like, Raiders is the best one, I'd go, yeah, that's fine. It's a good...
You got yourself a damn partner.
It's a great movie. They're both great movies. Can we just agree that they're the two best?
When she, like, in the first movie, when Karen Allen, like, flips the mirror and hits him in the jaw, it just pans out to the ship and he screams. That's a great comic beat.
She's so good. She is such a good actress. And I love her. I love bringing her back in Indiana Jones 4.
But the face melting was... I mean, there's just so many things about Raiders. There's so much happens.
But the issue with that is he doesn't need to be there. Like, the Nazis will get it, and then they'll open it, and their faces will melt. Indiana Jones doesn't need to be there. Their faces will melt one way or the other. At least with The Last Crusade, he actually had to be there.
Did he? Did he really have to be there, though?
To save Henry.
Well, yeah, because he sent the diary. The penitent man shall pass. The penitent man is humble. Meal!
I love it. I love that movie.
Jehovah starts with an I.
They're both great. Anywho, a movie that I'm not looking forward to starts filming.
We should do an Indiana Jones.
We'll do an episode before it happens.
That's 2 years. Long time to wait.
I'm holding off on some of the big news of the week. Let's go with the
You're
lighter
strangely
one.
dressed for a night.
Chip Zdarsky, who is best known for his independent work doing Sex Criminals, which is a great book. But he has officially signed an exclusive deal with Marvel. He'll still be able to do Sex Criminals, but beyond that, like, he is going to be working for Marvel. And he has, in the last couple of years, become one of my favorite writers. Like, he was a guy who, like, Sex Criminals is a great book, but he's also done some other stuff that was, like, super just, like, humorous and whatnot. But I'd say especially in the last 5 months, actually, like, I kind of got a taste of him as a dramatic writer, especially doing Marvel 2-in-1, which is currently, like, The Thing and Johnny Storm, which is definitely kind of a pilot to, like, are people enjoying this enough to see the Fantastic Four come back? And he's a great dramatic writer, so seeing him in this, and he's doing Peter Parker, the Spectacular Spider-Man right now, like, getting him exclusively on Marvel, I think is a great move for Marvel's part, because they're losing a lot of good talent to DC. Like BMB!
Oh, another week with Brian Michael Bendis moose?
Moose? Yes. All that Brian Michael Bendis moose.
He is my muse.
You know what's funny?
But I can't say the word news for 2 weeks in a row.
No, we're getting
I just said 2 weeks in the row, too. I'm having some struggles.
You've had half a beer.
It's been a long day.
We're getting a theme.
What? We are for yes!
For gabbing about Bendis, baby! We're getting a theme.
Gabbing about Bendis?
Whatever you want to call it. I guess we'll see when the theme happens. But yeah, our sound guy is like, do you want me to do a Bendis theme? I'm like, I guess. He's like, you've basically trapped yourself in a corner at this point, and you kind of have to need one. I was like, fair.
It's time to get Bendist.
Oh, God. Yeah, so I guess we'll see when that comes in. But yeah, we're getting a Bendis
He's
theme.
so dreamy.
He is now that he's lost all that weight.
I've never actually seen a picture of the man.
You know what? We've also never covered a comic of his on the show, which I also think we should continue to not do. Just never actually review a book of his, but just speak about him tangentially.
Okay, fair.
Which has also made me follow him again on Twitter, because he posted a ton. I was like, damn it, I'm trapped. I have to follow Bendis.
So tell me more about our favorite guy.
BMB, yeah, you know me. Brian Michael Bendis has turned in his script for Action Comics number 1001. It is complete.
Superman.
The reality is, I actually do quite like him as a writer, as long as he is not being overworked, which is something I brought up in the past that Marvel definitely did. They overworked him. He's really, really good when he is like on point and he finds the thing that he likes. But if he is an overworked writer, then he puts out a lot of mediocrity, which kind of can't blame him if they're like, great, 7 titles in a month. He's like, there's a bunch of crap. But right now, as far as I know, DC only has him doing 2 different books, both of them Superman-based. 2 isn't terrible. So I'm looking forward to what he's going to do. But yeah, he's officially turned in the script for Action Comics 1001, the longest running comic series of all time. And that is Gabbing About Bendis, or whatever this segment's going to be whenever we get a theme. I really don't know what it's going to be. Do you want to throw out some alternates?
I'm thinking. I'll muse on it.
You know I can cut out the gaps. You can think for a minute, and it will seem like just seconds to the audience.
It will. You could go B&B, Be My Bendis.
I like Gabbing About Bendis.
Gabbing About Bendis? Let's see.
I stand by Gabbing About Bendis.
I guess Gabbing About Bendis isn't terrible. We'll see what Sound Guy comes up with. He's far more creative than you and I combined.
Thanks, Sound Guy. Brian Hill is going to be taking over Detective Comics. This is going to be taking over for James Tynion IV, who's been on the book for a number of years. But what's the interesting part about this, in a team that you've never heard of, can't wait to tell you about it, is he has been teasing Batman and the Outsiders Will Return, which is an old thing back from like the 70s. And has been revisited, half a dozen times between the 70s and nowish. But the Outsiders, baby!
Did anything ever come off the dial?
We're not there yet. I don't know. That book got moved to bi-monthly.
Oh.
That book hasn't come out in a little bit. But I'm looking forward to the next issue. The thing is ultimately, like, I don't really care when things get delayed. I'm kind of all about things getting delayed, actually. Like, as a, not necessarily as a retailer, but as a reader.
Because you know they're going to get it right? Or try to get it right?
Like, if you have to delay a thing to try and make it better, that's fine. Like, I don't care about that. I'm not like, you didn't hit the monthly schedule, because ultimately, like, my concern is more of the reread more than the initial read. Like, the initial read is the emotional reaction, and the reread is, like, this is what they were going for. So, yeah, I mean, if they gotta push Doomsday Clock back. Also, speaking, Mr. Miracle, which is probably my current favorite book on the stands, is gonna miss a month. One, because it's mostly 9-panel pages, and it's all being done digitally, so those are all kind of, like, individual shots. And the artist just had a baby, so I really can't fault it.
Okay.
Yeah, let things happen. Let things happen organically. I'm with you. I don't like waiting either, but if they're going to be better for the wait, then let it happen. Yeah, so Brian Hill taking over Detective Teasing the Outsiders. And then let's do the big news! There's 2 bits of big news.
Yeah, that was a little aggressive. But I like it. We're going to start with the big news or the medium big news?
I guess medium big news.
Okay.
Ava DuVernay, hope I'm pronouncing that name right, director of Wrinkle in Time, loser to Black Panther, will be directing, and I can't believe this is a thing, and I absolutely lost my mind over this, and I hope it's good, is going to be directing a New Gods movie.
We know what happens when you get hyped up for DC movies recently.
Ava DuVernay, she is a black female director. It's, exciting to have representation, but she's done some good movies in the past. I haven't seen a ton of what she's done. She has done a number of movies. The only one I've seen of hers so far is Selma, which I greatly enjoyed. I didn't see A Wrinkle in Time. I'll see when it comes out on Redbox. It's been getting panned kind of hard, which makes me a little concerned. Like, let's, throw a ton of money at someone, and their first attempt was not overwhelmingly well received.
Remember what it's going up against, though.
The reviews of it and the money. I never read that book, which actually is kind of funny for me just because I was fairly well exposed to, like, children's literature when I was younger, and A Wrinkle in Time was not one of them, and I really I've never read it. I know nothing about it.
You've never read The Giver either, have you?
I read The Giver.
Oh. What classic one didn't you? Who is it that hasn't read the... Oh, it's my friend Brandon who's never read The Giver, and he's an English teacher.
Yeah, I read The Giver.
The Giver's a great book. The movie was... I
never saw the movie, but I have read the book.
I mean, the movie's not bad for a red boxing.
But, I mean...
You get Jeff Daniels.
The New Gods. I mean,
Not Jeff Daniels, Jeff Bridges.
For what we're doing... Oh, yeah, he'd be perfect for that. I'll get into the New Gods a little bit later, but I mean, New Gods for comics, like, people point to it all the time of, like, this is, like, the pre-Star Wars. Like, it's about two warring planets, like, one that's this kind of authoritarian thing, like the Empire, and then another one that's kind of like the Rebellion and all of that, and doing a New Gods movie, and... something I've seen conflicting reports on, so I'm not sure which one is true. I've seen some stuff saying that it's tied to the other DC movies, and other reports saying that it's separate from them, so I really don't know which one it is. I've seen both. So one of the two options is true. I wish I could give you something more solid, but I've seen it both ways, so I really don't know. But
you're excited.
I really am excited.
Does it ruffle your feathers in a positive fashion?
Nothing... There's nothing out there like the New Gods.
Does it girdle your loins?
The closest thing to seeing the New Gods so far, it wouldn't even be the movie that had the New God that was Justice League that had Steppenwolf, who was like in... I'll backtrack a little bit. New Gods was originally written and drawn by Jack Kirby with inks by Mike Royer, I think. And we've seen one of the New Gods in the extended edition of Batman v Superman and Justice League, seeing Steppenwolf, who I think was only in one issue of the original run, if memory serves. I've read all of it relatively recently. I think he was only one of them. But this is a big concept idea. Like, this is going to be insanely expensive. If I had it my way, some of the New God stuff goes to Earth. I would say just avoid Earth altogether. Have it be its own thing. Just do it on Apocalypse and New Genesis. But it's going to be pricey. And my big fear, as a guy who, within the last year, has dealt with a high-concept sci-fi series that ended up being kind of a piece of crap, Dark Tower, I'm kind of afraid it's going to be that.
You didn't say Dark Tower was a piece of crap. You said it was just there.
I waited years for... Well, the difference there is, I guess...
We had burgers and beer while we watched it.
Yeah. I waited for years for Dark Tower to come out, and my fear is that a New Gods movie is just going to be Dark Tower of a watered-down version where enough money wasn't pumped into it to make it a profitable thing.
Or give it enough time to make it happen.
Yeah, that's
movies.
That's my big fear, is that it's going to be a Dark Tower. I want it to be a good thing, because the New Gods is fantastic. It is the Star Wars of comic books, and nothing like it exists out in the movie world. And I would love to see it done well, but I'm kind of afraid it's going to be a Dark Tower. We'll see. As of right now, it has only been announced, so there's no deciding factor one way or the other. But the big news of the week! Avengers Infinity War dropped another trailer.
Da da da! Is this going to be one of those where you interlace the trailer with our comments, or no?
No, I was just gonna...
No, I didn't know you were going to go for it.
I've written down a lot of notes about it.
I saw that. Most of the pages, no.
Yeah. Do you want to give your thoughts before I dive into my own and have your reactions?
Well, having learned a keen eye, they kind of lay the movie out.
I disagree.
In the trailer a little bit.
I kind of disagree with that. I think there is a lot we haven't seen, and I'm excited about that.
No, but I think you get the general structure of the movie kind of laid out.
I think this is going to be an Empire Strikes Back. Like, my version of this movie, with what I know, I think they're going to lose at the end.
I think they're going to lose big. I think they're going to get their asses beat, and badly.
Yeah.
But I think it kind of lays it out. They're all kind of in their separate parts, and then Thanos shows up.
Separate teams, you might say, that I have written down.
Yeah, so Thanos shows up, and they all start to get together. But like you said, like you've got your separate teams. Like they've set everybody up to be where they need to be. So you can have Tony and Vision and...
Nay.
Oh, no, you won't have Vision because he's run off, hasn't he?
He is not on the alien planet team.
But no, you're gonna have Tony and Spider-Man in one area. They're already in New York. It's obvious that the movie's probably going to open up with what's left of the Asgardians. Thor and the Guardians of the Galaxy are going to get together.
Good. Let's start there, because I 100% agree with you. I think that our opening scene, or if not our opening scene, one of our earliest scenes is going to be with the Asgardians, with the ship that Thor and Loki are on, where we see Thor getting his head pinched and Loki giving up the Tesseract, or maybe Loki not giving up the Tesseract. I think that Loki is going to die a hero's death.
In the first act.
100% Loki.
In the first half hour.
Loki is not going to survive this movie.
Yeah.
Or maybe he does because he's done that a bunch of the comics. Like, there's even like points where like he has been fully decapitated and they just picks up his head. He's like, ha ha, they thought I was dead. So Loki may or may not die, but I think the intention is that he is going to at least have the illusion of death very early in the movie.
Most of the Asgardians are going to die.
Yeah, I hope they don't kill like Idris Elba because I want him to do more stuff. But I agree that that is going to be one of the first part of the movie, if not the opening scene of the movie, is going to be Thanos screwing with Thor.
Yeah, and then Thor ending up floating through space.
I'll bring that up later. And the trailer opens up like Gamora. We see Gamora talking, and she's like, Thanos could end the galaxy with a snap of his fingers if he assembled all the Infinity Stones, which is a thing I've brought up multiple times.
Yes.
Which also makes me think it's not going to happen in the movie now.
I think the last scene of the movie is going to be him getting the last stone. It clicks in with a snap,
okay.
And it goes to black.
Just because they're referencing it, I feel like it's not going to happen.
No, they've got to pay that off. It's an iconic moment in comics.
It is, but we see Gamora saying, like, all this stuff, and then we cut to Tony going, like, tell me his name again, and she goes, Thanos. Those are 100% separate scenes. I don't think the two of them ever actually interact within the movie. Gamora is saying it on in the Milano, or wherever the Milano lands, and Tony is saying it within the Sanctum Sanctorum. They are separate scenes. I just mentioned the finger snap thing. We're going to see a portal, and just so we're clear, I am only going to reference things that have been officially released. There are things, if you look at set photos for Avengers 4, that you can infer more into. I am not going to mention those things here. I am only going to mention things that have been within the trailers and within things that people who worked on the movies have said publicly. We see Spider-Man reacting. I think he's going to be the first responder to, we saw in the last trailer, in this trailer, what I think is a portal.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing that we see Tony following. And we see Spider-Man and the suit that Tony gave him at the end of Homecoming again. But I think once Tony catches up with him in that suit, he's going to switch him out for the Iron Spider armor.
Yeah.
We hear a voiceover of Tony saying, like our one advantage is we have something that Thanos wants.
Mm-hmm.
And based on where Tony is, I think he means the time gem. And we'll get to the time gem later, but if you've seen my Twitter, I have made a proclamation about this.
Yes, you know where the time gem is.
I think I know where the time gem is.
It's going to be the Eye of Agamotto.
Well, it is that.
Yeah.
But I'll just say it now for this point in the time. The trailers don't show the time gem. I 100% believe that Thanos gets the time gem early in the movie and that we don't see it later. I think it's been digitally removed later in the trailer.
Yeah.
So that we don't know that.
And so
because we've also, I think I mentioned this, I at least mentioned it to you talking personally. I don't know if it made it into the podcast, and I'm not going to listen back to find out.
We think the soul gem's in Wakanda.
I don't think that anymore, actually. I used to think that. I don't think it anymore.
Oh.
But we, in the first trailer, we see a flash of Thanos punching someone in the Iron Man suit, not necessarily Tony. We see Thanos punching someone in the Iron Man suit. And we see kind of a green flash when he's going back. Within the movies, not within the comics, but within the movies, the time gem is green. So I think Thanos gets the time gem. And I think it's within the Infinity Gauntlet throughout the movie, but I think it was just digitally removed so we don't know that he gets it from Doctor Strange. Anywho, but we see like Tony say, or we hear him say like, our one advantage is that Thanos is coming to us and we're going to draw him out. We see Doctor Strange being tortured, and I think that is going to be when they take the time gem from him. Something that has come out in the press, not within the trailers, but that the smoky yellow stuff that we see within the trailer is Thanos' homeworld of Titan. So on Titan, we're going to see Iron Man, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Star-Lord, and Drax, which actually had my favorite bit from the trailer, which is kind of smallish, but we see Star-Lord jumping from platform to platform that Doctor Strange has set for him.
Yeah.
To blast Thanos. And one of the things that I'm very curious about, that we'll kind of get into later, is what is Drax's reaction going to be? Because we saw him at like the end of Guardians when he's like,
I'm going to kill Thanos.
Yeah, Thanos is the reason for the death of my family. And within the comics, we have literally seen Drax punch out Thanos' heart, which is fantastic. I'm kind of curious who's going to take down Thanos. I hope it's Drax, just from a personal standpoint, but we'll see.
With a Batista bomb.
Yeah, my original theory, you go back a couple of weeks when we were talking Black Panther, was saying that, like, I thought the Soul Gem was in Wakanda. I don't think it is anymore. Even with it, when you look at the Infinity Gauntlet, I don't think we're going to get to the Soul Gem until the next movie. Like, every other gem or stone, depending on how you want to call it, is relatively small, and the Soul Gem is, like, this big, wonky one in the middle. I don't think we're getting to that. I think the point of this movie is going to be moving the Vision to Wakanda to try and protect him.
Mm-hmm.
We see a lot of hints to that of, like, Wakanda, like, throwing up the shields. We see Shuri looking at, an image of Vision's head. And even in the last trailer, we see one of the Thanos' Black Order trying to pull the gem out, but that's kind of like in a parking garage that, we didn't see a lot of Wakandan parking garages.
Well,
so I'm going to say that's not what, that's going to be earlier in the movie, and the kind of point of the movie for one of the teams is going to be protecting the Vision. We see Thor forging his new hammer. We've seen that from kind of some toy spoilers, as we've discussed in the past.
Yes.
With a handle made out of Groot, and I really don't know what the hammer's going to be made of. They're going to call it Stormbreaker, the Beta Ray Bill one, but it looks kind of like the Ultimate Universe one. We see a flashback of Thanos. I am very surprised for how much I think this is going to be a Thanos-based movie, just because Marvel has usually done a pretty terrible job of fleshing out their villains, but I think we're going to get a good backstory for Thanos. But we see Thanos
with baby Gamora, or young Gamora.
And when you look at that scene, you can see all of the Chitauri from the first Avengers who are kind of like pushing back the race. And then when in the 2014 Guardians, like when they're throwing their rap sheets up, saying it's like last survivor of her race. So I think you're going to see her entire race die within that scene. What else do I got? So we have a bunch of teams. They're going to see Iron Man, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Star-Lord, and Drax on Thanos' homeworld of Titan. They're going to start in New York and go there. In space, we're going to see Thor, Gamora, Groot, and Rocket. And then in Wakanda, we're going to have Captain America, Black Widow, Hawkeye. Yes, there is a shot of Hawkeye in the first trailer. You can see his stupid douchebaggy hipster haircut. War Machine, Hulk, Vision, Falcon, Scarlet Witch, Black Panther, and Winter Soldier.
Bucky!
People who haven't been seen. Ant-Man Mantis is seen in the first trailer, but I don't know what team she is going to end up on. Also, Nebula and Nick Fury.
Give me some Nick Fury.
I have no idea. Like, Fury might not be in the movie at all.
This is the biggest crossover attempt since Wolfman and Frankenstein.
I guess that was my response. Thank you.
That was good.
Glad you appreciate it.
Bravo.
So, coming out of these two trailers that we've seen so far, I have questions.
Yes. I have no answers.
I mean, neither do I. Question number one is, who dies? And
well, he says half of humanity.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to die, but I also think between the Time Gem and the Soul Gem in the next movie, a lot of people could be resurrected. I kind of think maybe your like mainstay Avengers will die in this one, and your kind of B-listers will step up to save them, if I had to throw out my own guess.
I think Spider-Man's dead.
I think Cap and Tony are dead.
One of them dies, not both of them. I'm thinking Cap dies. Pepper dies, and that gives Tony, like, massive rage.
Well, there's been a theory floating around the internet, like, we see in the first trailer, like, Thanos punching down someone in the Iron Man armor, but they kind of throw their hands up like a little bit of a wimp.
Yeah.
And the theory is that that's Pepper in the armor, because we've already seen that in Iron Man 3.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen that this is, like, a nanotech thing with Tony, so we really don't know what the extent of that is. And never mind, I will ignore that spoiler image of Pepper.
Oops. You just
no, I'm not going to say a thing.
But
there's a thing about Pepper.
But you also, in the new trailer, have Thanos punching Cap, and Cap's holding...
Yeah, what's really fun about that is, like, I saw a lot of people being like, how is Captain America catching that punch? And my answer is because he's a fucking badass.
He's Captain America.
And some people have been, like digging deeper into it. I don't think it goes deeper than badass, if I had to guess.
That beard gives him the power.
I really like the 3/4 sleeve thing he has going on.
Yeah.
That's just...
Somebody get this man a shield.
Okay, going back to questions that I personally have and don't have answers to. How did the characters get back from Titan? I don't know how the Guardians of the Galaxy get split up, but the other section is I don't know how, like, Iron Man, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange get back from Titan, if that's where they are.
The Milano, maybe?
One of my other, like, big questions, one of the things that we really haven't seen so far in these trailers is what is Thor's role? Like, we have kind of seen everyone else, but all we really know about Thor is that he meets out with the Guardians and he forges a new hammer.
Yeah, what does he do in
this? Yeah, what's his actual role? Like, that's not really moving the story forward.
We haven't seen him fighting anybody yet.
Is Thor's story just setting up? like for the next movie, or does he actually do something? Like, have these trailers just not shown us Thor like kind of throwing down and being a part of it?
Maybe
Because all we've seen is him is just being kind of like on the outskirts.
Here's a theory. We just got done seeing Thor kick maximum ass 3 months ago. We don't need to see that right now. We've seen Thor have one of the best scenes or images, like fight images, in all of the MCU.
Yeah, it's just
weird.
Weird.
Riding down on that bolt of lightning.
I believe me, I love Thor going to Zeppelin, but it's just that's where I'm kind of curious. I'm like, what is Thor's actual role in this movie?
He's a Skrill.
God, I know you did that on purpose. I know you did it. Where are the missing members? Hawkeye, he is definitely in one of the trailers, just in the background. Mantis, Fury, Ant-Man, Wasp. I have no idea where those characters are.
That Photoshop picture of like the Avengers trailer? Like there's more on the bottom half, and it's like it's folded down, and they're on top of Hawkeye's hair.
He has a stupid douchey haircut. One of the questions I have based on the comics and what we've seen in the movies, the thing that Thanos is all about within like the Infinity Gauntlet story is he is trying to impress death, the living embodiment of death. It's just like a skeleton in a hoodie. But one of the things that the comics is hinted at, and, you know, a lot of times comics end up mirroring what's going to be happening in the movies, is that Kate Blanchett's character, Hela from Thor, is Thanos' new source of affection. So is Kate Blanchett going to replace death in this movie so you actually have someone who can emote versus just, like, skeleton face? For all of my things that I'm throwing out there, I'm going to say that is the most likely one. Do the Asgardians live? We've kind of covered that. I kind of hope Idris does, because damn it, he's good in everything. And my last personal question is, how many gems will Thanos get? I'm going to say 5 out of 6. I don't think the Soul Gem is going to show up in this movie.
So then he can't snap his finger and...
Yeah, we'll see. I'll say 5 out of 6.
Really?
Stabbing. Again, this is purely theorizing.
Speculation.
I have nothing to back this up. I am saying 5 out of 6 just from a personal standpoint. If you want to say 6 out of 6, that's fine. I have nothing to argue that against. I just don't think he's going to get the Soul Gem quite yet. I think that's going to be the focus of the next movie, if I had to guess.
It'd be interesting, but then you've got to really like put it all together and try and wrap everything up in a movie.
We'll see. I don't know. That's my own personal theory. I also, the Vision's going to die in this movie. He's a robot. They'll just rebuild him in the next one. It's fine. He's been rebuilt a bunch of times. I really don't care if the Vision gets ripped in half. I'm like, oh no, the robot that they can rebuild. Shucks. Whatever will we do? But yeah, I guess that's the news.
There's a lot of news. A lot happened.
Not that much happened. I just had a lot to say about Infinity War.
It's going to be an awesome movie, and I'm glad that it's coming out a week earlier.
Crap. We got to buy tickets tonight. Don't leave before we do that. I meant to do that a couple of days ago, and then I forgot. We got to do it tonight.
Okay.
I'm going to leave this at the show.
Yes.
My own forgetful nature.
They've only been out for a couple of days.
Yeah, but they've also broken records.
Yeah, I can...
No, they... Black Panther... broke those records before, and Avengers pre-sales broke the Black Panther records.
Wow.
And that's the news. From there, I guess we will go on to our very special edition of Jared's Reading Corner.
Ah, yes.
It's Jared's Reading Corner.
This week, because this podcast is 100% a marketing tool, get over it. It kind of is. I wish it wasn't, but it is.
It has to be. Most podcasts are marketing tools of some kind.
This week, I got in the majority of the stat pages from New Gods number 9 that were all owned by the king himself, Jack Kirby, that I am now selling for very reasonable prices. So this week, we're going to be talking about New Gods number 9 for no reason at all.
There's tons of reasons. The New Gods movie being announced as well. It's very topical.
I know. I was so happy when I saw the New Gods movie announced. I was like, these pages have a purpose.
They've always had a purpose.
This is one amazing series, New Gods. So, talking about New Gods number 9, before we get into it, before you get into it, 1018. You're looking for page 1018.
No, I've got a ways to go back. Found it.
We're looking through a big old omnibus. The New Gods. New Gods number 9. This specific issue came out in July of 1972. This is the first appearance of Forager. There are a few other first appearances in there as well, but Forager is the most important. The New Gods originally ran from 1971 through 1972. It is generally reviewed as Jack Kirby's most high concept stuff, but unfortunately at the time a lot of people didn't like it or get it, and the series was canceled. It was revisited in 1977 and 1978 to kind of wrap up his own storyline. There were 4 separate books that were happening simultaneously. There were The New Gods, Mr. Miracle. Mr. Miracle was the one that ran the longest, The Forever People, and Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen. And as a guy who has read all of those, I don't particularly like the Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen book. It wasn't super great. Personal opinion, if you disagree with me, I don't really care. You Snapchatting this?
Mm-hmm. I am.
Do you feel the need to be like, this is what I'm doing with my evening?
The bug!
Anyway.
So it's kind of like his seminal work.
So within this issue itself, we have an A and a B plot, which for the sake of discussion will probably be easiest to break up in talking about them separately versus doing them, alternating, because that would just be distracting and annoying.
We never got the Manhunter meets Lady and the Tiger.
Okay.
I just was saying it was on the cover and we didn't get to do it.
So, of all these pages that are currently for sale in my store, all of the stats, the cover itself is kind of funny because we have flipped characters. We see Forager as our main character, but within our B plot, we see Orion and Light Ray. And for whatever reason, DC decided to flip them.
Really?
Yeah. It's kind of...
Was it usually Orion on top and Light Ray on the bottom?
Yeah, because we see Orion and Light Ray kind of set off to the side. And in the final published stuff, we see Light Ray on top, Orion on the bottom. But in the original art by Jack Kirby, Orion was on the top, Light Ray was on the bottom, which makes more sense to me because Orion is the bigger character.
Huh.
So it is kind of... It's interesting to look at these stat pages and to purchase them. Quite interesting.
Oh, wow, that's some subliminal messaging right there.
Buy this. Buy it all, baby!
I see what you're selling.
Yeah, I'm selling New Gods number 9, owned by Jack Kirby.
All right. Anyway, into the adventure itself. Now that you put a bug in people's ears. Anyway, the bug is a food seeker on New Genesis.
Yes.
I got it right!
You did. Within the world of the New Gods, there are 2 different planets, 2 different warring factions. The general gist is because, mythology doesn't have a copyright on it, is that Ragnarok occurred and all of the old gods died. Hooray! Reminds us of Thor.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is kind of Thor. But then following that, new gods were born, and they were born on sister planets, Apocalypse and New Genesis.
Is it just me? Just a quick question. Does Kirby like to draw his heroes kind of hunched over? Is that a Kirby thing?
He has a very distinctive gait with his walking, especially. You can't mistake a Kirby walk for anyone else. I'm not sure if other people would call that, I'm sure other people would call it, the Kirby walk. But yeah, Kirby has a very distinctive walking towards camera.
Okay.
Especially in the legs. You can really see it, the way the legs are positioned.
Just like the way, Light Ray and Forger are kind of hunched over they have some sort of condition.
Kirby is, you've read a few of his things at this point. He is kind of a master of perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, generally speaking, when people are walking, he'll usually have some kind of part of the body, forward, and he really is, Kirby was a guy who could pump out 4 pages a day, and you have a lot of artists who can only pump out 1 page a day, and so you might not see the amount of detail on Kirby pages, but you can see a lot of the power and a lot of the perspective of what he's doing. Kirby is the greatest comic artist for perspective that has ever existed.
All right.
Anywho, so yes, to answer your question, yes, that is a very Kirby-esque pose that the characters are making.
So we have Forager, and we get right away a classic Kirby double-page splash.
Yep, we're going with the kind of traditional method of you open with a splash page, and then you go to a double splash. And that's the way that Kirby opened a lot of books. It's a very powerful way to open a book.
A lot happening right away.
Yeah.
We're jumping into a lot of action.
But he had an artist to work who was, a good enough artist to draw you in with a splash and a double splash. We see Bug, the Forager,
leading his other bug companions,
compatriots, if you will,
on a food raid.
On New Genesis. The good planet. Yes. Interesting.
So, anyway, they get the food, and then they're immediately gassed by people. As one person called them, the sky death comes. That sucks. I hate when the sky death comes.
I'm summing this up kind of quickly. The gist is that Forager exists with the bugs on New... I threw air quotes in there that no one could see. The bugs on New Genesis. And their whole deal is that they are a subjected race on the good planet, which is something that I really greatly enjoy about this issue. Like, because generally speaking, we have Apocalypse, we have New Genesis, and we're supposed to see them kind of like in black and white colors of Apocalypse being the bad one, New Genesis being the good one. But within this issue, we see that there is a race that is 100% subjugated, the bugs.
Yes.
So it adds the shade of gray within that, and we see Forager as kind of the leader of like, we need to go get food from different colonies so we can survive, and we see that the bugs aren't just like, hey, there's just one faction of like bugs that are bad. Like, they're all bad bugs, and they fight amongst each other, which adds this whole level of gray, which I really enjoy, which is honestly like one of the reasons I really like this book.
And they kind of expound upon that later on in the issue. So anyway, Forager, who seems to be generally kicking ass at whatever he chooses to do, gets back to
he's the best around. No one's
ever going to let him down. He's never going to let anyone down. He's like a knight in shining armor from a long time ago.
That's a different song.
I know, but still, same movie.
Like a knight in shining armor from a long time ago.
Peter Cetera.
Something. Oh, crap, I forgot the lyrics. Whatever, it doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah, it's,
Take you to my castle far away. Yeah.
Was that Karate Kid 2, right? Or was it the first Karate Kid?
Oh, boy, I don't remember. Whatever.
The Glory of Love. Peter Cetera. He was in Chicago. Did you ever like Chicago?
I am the man who will fight for your honor.
But no,
I'll be the hero.
Serious question. Did you like Chicago? Do you like Chicago, the band?
I thought you meant the musical.
No.
Yeah, why not?
25 or 6 to 4. Good song. So anyway, he gets back to the mound, and we all of a sudden turn the page, and we find Orion and Light Ray, sorry.
Lantern.
Whatever. Orion and Light Ray on some woman's balcony in Metropolis.
Terrace.
Yeah, just on her terrace.
They just landed on a terrace. Orion, if you haven't read the last issue of the New Gods, Orion had a big battle with Calabac from Apocalypse. Calabac's a great character. I love his design. He's very Kirby, and it's also a character that I really love when Neil Adams draws him. Has a great rendition of him. But we see that Orion is really sad because his face is all messed up.
Yeah, he got wrapped.
No, he's kind of Darth Vader. He's like, I need to wear my mask so no one that sees me who wants to bone me knows that I have a messed up face. So I need to wear my metal mask.
Do you think Darth Vader was sexually functional after his accident?
No, I think his got burned off.
Okay, just checking.
I think that's part of why he's so angry.
I would be angry too if my peas and carrot, because I don't have. Let's rephrase that. My peas and carrot.
I don't know what's happening with you, and I'm not going to follow up.
I'm having a stroke. Anyway.
Yeah, Orion is all messed up in the face. This is the first time we've ever seen him without his helmet on. He's all scarred up from battles and whatnot. And this girl approaches him. She's like, I think you're attractive. He's like, no, you can't look at my face. I'm like, Luke, let me see you with my own eyes. Wow, no, this definitely didn't inspire Star Wars at all.
Yeah, she's
Side
also
note,
like,
it 100% did.
She's also like, what the hell's going on my terrace? My really nice terrace. So they kind of explain, well, what's going on, and then we go back and we're with the bugs again.
We're eating bread, essentially just eating bread.
Yes. And then this one guy wants to fight Forager for his piece of bread, and Forager kicks his ass.
And it turns out he kicks his ass because Forager is not like the other bugs, but he is one of the new gods, so convenient.
Oh, one of these things is not like the others.
Because why would we focus on him otherwise?
Yeah, true story. And then we meet the Prime One,
who is only appearing in this issue and dies immediately.
The Prime One, who looks a lot like that guy from the Fantastic Four. Galactus, kind of.
Sure, why not? He's purple.
Yeah, he's got a big-ass dome.
Yeah, the Prime One basically says, hey, Forager, you're a new god, not actually a bug, and you need to go find Orion and Light Ray and build the peace between our people because you're not actually one of us, but you've lived with us, so that kind of makes you one of us.
He's also got a creepy smile, dude. He's creepy.
Forager? Yeah, he does kind of have a creepy smile when he takes his helmet off.
He kind of looks like a creepy Prince Valiant.
He's like, hey, why am I not like the other bugs?
You know,
I seem to be different. Why can't I not smile?
You know what he looks like? He looks like two Tim Burton Joker when he puts on the face paint.
Kind of does, yeah.
He's got those high cheekbones.
Anywho.
So there's some invaders, and they have to protect the colony from the invaders, and, well, guess what? Using his, his acid pod, Forger continues to kick ass.
And at the end of the battle, we see that everyone, credits Mantis. Got there all on my own.
Yay, Mantis.
Mantis kind of comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Mantis is from a different faction of bugs, and Mantis is like, hey, it's all my fault that we won, and now let's go kill everyone.
What do you mean? It's all my fault. It's all my doing. It's my... Sorry, guys.
Look,
I'm sorry. Sorry we won. That's my fault.
I tried to skim over it, and you chose to focus.
Well, because you don't, like, that's a weird way to phrase it. If you go out and win something, you don't be like, oh, man, my bad. I didn't mean to win, teammates.
Mantis says, like, hey, we won because of me, and let's all go kill the Forager because he's not like the rest of us. And then Forager escapes through a boom tube.
Yes.
End of the Forager story.
Well, also, yeah, Prime One gets killed by the Queen.
That's really weird, yeah.
She just, like, decides to end him.
The Prime One who told Forager, like, hey, you're one of the new gods, you're not like us, who's just like, oh, hey, did you know part of my job is being sacrificed to death? Because that's a thing.
It happens in the bug world quite often. The female praying mantis kills her husband.
It's really weird, right? Was it just weird to me?
I think a little bit. I think she knew that he was starting to form a coup against Mantis.
It was super bondagey. Like, they were just like, hey.
Yeah. To the...
Time it down.
What did they call it? The sacrificial pit? Where is it?
I think that sounds right.
It's part of the ritual. Let's see, where is it? He is being led to the ceremonial killing pit.
Weird.
Anyway.
On Earth, we see Orion and Light Ray, who are with this random girl who were like, hey, you're super hot, but, maybe put that mask on.
Yeah, and I'm definitely probably not your type, because I kill for a living.
And Orion starts screaming to the heavens that he needs to fight Darkseid, not to send his henchman Kala back. Which, if you've read my top 10 Jack Kirby creations of all time on whatculture.com, I don't get paid for that article anymore, so I don't really care.
I'll read it anyway.
I put Orion in one of the top 10.
Yeah.
And partially because the character is very flawed. Like, he has a lot of anger and a lot of emotion. His true father is Darkseid, but he was raised in New Genesis. And the two of them come to blows and yada yada yada. But this is like the first big explosion we see of Orion wanting to throw down with Darkseid. It's kind of a big deal. As a guy who has never read the New Gods, and I'm also going to throw out, because I mentioned a little bit before, this series was intentionally meant to be a mini, and then was unceremoniously forced into being more. How did you read it for a guy who's never read the New Gods before?
There was a lot going on that I was trying to get up to speed with. I don't want to say it kind of felt like standard fare of 70s comics, but it was definitely high sci-fi. It was very... I don't want to say it was very out there and make it sound like it's negative, but it was very out there. But there were some familiar themes to it as well.
I don't think it being out there is necessarily a bad thing. That's part of what I like about the New Gods, and why, if we're doing a movie about this, I want to see this kind of stuff, all brought to the forefront. I don't want to...
You want to see the ceremonial killing pit?
I don't want to see a watered-down version of it. I want to see, balls to the wall, this is the New Gods, and it's going to be these two warring factions. If I had it my way, don't go to Earth at all.
Yeah.
Just deal with Apocalypse and New Genesis and nothing else. Don't go to Earth, don't deal with the human factions. I don't care about that crap, because that's budget cutting kind of crap. I don't want to have that. Just... You
want a totally separate
I
universe.
Want space. We saw, especially in Thor Ragnarok recently, a relative Jack Kirby homage, with design, big on design. Even within the one that I don't think is legally acceptable, but they still did, when you see the Grandmaster and Loki watching the Thor and Hulk fight, there's some tech in there that is right out of Fantastic Four, which I don't think they should be legally allowed to use, but they did anyway. Stuff like that. Show me some real ass Kirby tech.
Mm-hmm.
Show me these warring factions. Give me the comic book equivalent of Star Wars, which it's going to be a pricey movie, but if you don't throw enough money at this concept, going to fail.
Do you think that this would be a good avenue for DC to just be reset on our comic book movies?
Have it be separate.
Or have it be something totally...
I would do it entirely separate and just throw $400 million at this.
I think the art, though, is beautiful. I really like the art. There's a lot of cool...
Oh, this is 100% Kirby.
Yeah.
If you don't put it's kind of sad to say it, but if you don't give enough money to this project, it will fail.
Yeah. But no, I think
the
art is really cool.
You could give the concept of 2 warring planets don't go to Earth. 100% go to Earth. That was one of the failings of Dark Tower. They spent too much time on Earth. And I'm just going with like high concept sci-fi. But New Gods is amazing. And as a movie, it could be amazing. But boy, it would be an easy movie to fuck up.
They should hire you to work on it. Go shill yourself in Hollywood.
I guess from there, if I were to say read New Gods number 9, I would say just read New Gods in general because it's kind of amazing stuff.
How many issues is New Gods?
15 plus 2 one-shots.
Is it all in this giant-ass omnibus you have here?
Yes, it is. It was recently reprinted in this giant-ass omnibus, as you mentioned.
1,500-page omnibus, which is only the Fourth World stuff.
From there, let's move on to letters to the editors.
Now for my favorite part of the show. What's that say? Talk to the audience. Oh, God, this is always dead.
Here's another one of your letters to the editors.
Hey, speaking of letters, I think I have one more total.
Okay.
Please write us letters because we're running low.
Funky Flashman.
Funky Flashman is, as you're flipping through this New Gods omnibus, Funky Flashman is Stan Lee. And the reason that Stan Lee only has a mustache now is because that Jack Kirby made Funky Flashman to look like Stan in the 70s, so Stan then shaved his beard down to just a mustache.
Oh.
That is a unflattering characterization of Stan.
With a snake.
Yes.
No, and he's also a supervillain. No animosity there.
Yeah, definitely not. Yeah, Funky Flashman is Stan.
Okay.
Question.
Viking the Black?
Yeah, I'll give it again. It was for the forever people. Anywho, please send us more questions. I'm literally down to one more after this question, so if you could send more, we'd appreciate it. So, question for this week, and I'm going to have to give some context here. Planet of the Apes is going to be getting a reprint in comic book form, but what they're going to be doing is giving the original Rod Serling script version as a comic. Planet of the Apes, which was originally a novel. Rod Serling, creator of The Twilight Zone, turned it into a script, and then that became the movie with Charlton Heston. And it is going to be, that original script is going to be printed in comic book form. What do you think about that? Can I answer first because I have some thoughts?
Yeah, go ahead.
And then you can fill in. My honest answer is that I didn't know that the movie was that different from the Rod Serling script because that movie kind of plays out like a extended Twilight Zone episode. Like, it plays straight through the whole thing. And
the big twist at the end.
And then there's a twist at the end, so it kind of plays like a Twilight Zone episode for me. And I know that that's different from the novel, so I didn't really know that there was a difference between his original script and what was put to screen. So I guess my answer is, when I think about putting a script in comic book form, go for it. Because I never knew that there was really a difference.
I'm going to piggyback and say, why not? I think there's opportunity here to, like, have some fun with it.
Especially with a movie that's as iconic as Planet of the Apes. Like, that twist ending, I think you would be hard-pressed to, like, tell me that, like, that movie doesn't play like a Twilight Zone episode.
No, it 100% does. I mean, that twist ending really is one of the major twist endings in movies.
So I guess I'm more curious than anything. Like, how does the original script differ? Because it feels like something that Serling would have written.
Maybe there's some different stuff in the middle. The Dr. Zaius.
Dr. Zaius.
No, not again. We did it.
Dr. Zaius.
We did it again.
Oh, Dr. Zaius. Dr. Zaius. Dr. Zaius.
Wow. Troy McClure over here trying to rehash your career.
Can't play the piano anymore. Of course you can. Well, I couldn't before.
Oh my God. You know me from such films as...
Oh, if you haven't seen that episode, that means nothing. What a great episode, though.
Troy McClure. One of the best Simpsons characters.
Until his wife shot him in the face.
Well, he didn't shoot Troy McClure in the face.
Yeah, but that character was retired afterwards, except for that one episode where the Who was in town, and we see Troy McClure in the background climbing up the wall because Springfield was split into like a down the middle by a wall. And we see Troy McClure climbing the wall, and Pete Townsend was voiced by his brother, and that was relatively before John Entwistle died. Anywho.
Yeah, well, wait, there's a downer. It's like we just talking about a bunch of dead people.
I mean, in all fairness, he died from a drug overdose after banging a prostitute in Vegas, so if you're gonna go...
I mean, I guess there are worse ways.
It's the most rock and roll way to go.
That is one of the most rock and roll ways to go. Very metal. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Death.
Ooh.
That's what John Entwistle found. It's been like 15 years to get over it.
Wow, that's...
Listening audience.
Wow. Anyway, anywho.
Yeah, so I would say Yeah, because I really didn't know that there was a difference from the Rod Serling script to the finished product, because it felt like a Rod Serling script. So I'm all about it.
Bring it. Why not? I'd like to actually see some more comic adaptations of Twilight Zone stuff. I think that'd be kind of fun.
There has been a Twilight Zone comic in the past, but I mean, the problem, like, the original Twilight Zone was really done by 3 different writers who would just, like, it's insane the amount of, like, material these guys put out because they were all 100% different stories. There's no connective tissue, and it's really just 3 writers. Twilight Zone is, like, it's been a comic, but it's also getting a reboot with Jordan Peele, and based on his success with Get Out, I'm like 100% give it to this guy. So we'll see.
Okay, here's a classic question. Twilight Zone or Tales from the Crypt?
100% Twilight Zone. Rod Serling is a master. I love, like, so many of those episodes. And, like, even the silly, like, Burgess Meredith, I love, like, he was in 4 episodes plus the movie. Like, I love what he does.
Which one was your favorite one?
Boy.
I feel like we've talked about this.
Oh, boy, no, I don't know. I really...
The Serve Man.
That's a great one.
It's a cookbook. Sorry if you haven't seen it. Now I've ruined it for you. It's only been out for 40 years.
Oh, boy, there's so many great ones. There's the...
I like the All the Time in the World.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that one. I was trying to think of the title of it. But yes, yeah, that one with the Burgess Meredith where he just likes to read and then he goes into that vault and the bomb blows up. Or the one with Shatner and the gremlin on the plane.
Oh, like Terror at 20,000
Yeah,
feet.
yeah, and that was directed by Richard Donner, funny enough.
Dick Donner.
Yeah. Boy, Twilight Zone is one of the best shows of all time.
I like the one where they're at the roadside cafe on the bus and the snow is kind of preventing them. They're talking about the aliens, and the guy who's running the shop is actually an alien.
Yeah.
And he's got that third eye in the middle of his head.
What a great show. Yeah, he takes off the hat and all that stuff.
He's like, actually, we're on our way to colonize right now.
Twilight is one of the best shows of all time. So yeah, I would say Rod Serling, one of the greatest screenwriters of all time. If he has a different version of Planet of the Apes,
for your consideration,
I 100% would want to see that. So bring it on is my answer.
Have you ever been on the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror at Disney World?
No.
It's kind of a fun ride.
I've never done that.
Oh.
I guess from there, if you want to get the show a day early every single week, patreon.com/editorsnotecomics, other stuff that's on the website, editorsnotecomics.com. Please rate, review, subscribe. We could use,
$1 here, $1 there.
The extra attaboys. We could use the attaboys.
Make us feel good about ourselves.
The attaboys.
Yay, good job, Zach.
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You're on the Twitters.
Yes, at Junior Rich. And if you want to go to the store and buy the Jack Kirby stat pages from New Gods number 9, where can I go?
Okay, that's fair. That's kind of the reason of this episode, isn't it?
I'm here for you, man.
210 Water Street in downtown Hollowell, Maine, where all these exist. They were all owned by Kirby himself. I have a certificate of authenticity to back it up as well.
Nice. Oh, hoity-toity. You're also online in various forms. Rate, review, subscribe to the podcast.
Just go to
especially
the
on
website.
iTubes. It's been a rough one, man. By the way, I do want to give an unsolicited shout out. I got a haircut today, and it probably was the best haircut experience of my life. Again, if you haven't had a straight razor shave in your life, you need to do it, man. But there's this place, it's on Water Street Barber Salon. It was awesome. It was great experience. Best haircut I've ever had.
All right, I guess that'll do it for this week. We'll be back next week to talk about things about comics and stuff.
Yay!
Bye.
Happy spring!
Yeah.